This is gonna be a vulnerable one still. 3 years ago, I was at an all-time low, mentally, emotionally, and physically. I had just graduated from community college with an associate's degree in criminal justice, a degree I pursued more for my parents than for myself. Maybe you've been there too, doing something just to please others, only to end up feeling even more lost. At the time, I was still living with my mom with no direction, no motivation, and absolutely no discipline. I would constantly complain about my life, blaming everyone else for why I wasn't where I wanted to be. But the truth was, I wasn't taking any action. My days were filled with distractions, and I had no real sense of purpose. Thinking about it is making me sad, actually. Crazy. I escaped into gaming. I bought a PS4, and it became my way of avoiding reality. I would stay up all night, trying to forget how unfulfilled I felt. But when the games were off, I turned to another form of instant gratification, fapping. Yeah, it was something that gave me a temporary sense of relief, but it left me feeling emptier than ever. So sad. At that point, I didn't realize how deeply this was affecting me. Fapping wasn't just a way to pass time, it was destroying my confidence. It's easy to overlook, but excessive porn use and fapping mess with your brain. Studies show that it rewires your reward systems, making real life connections with women seem impossible. It can cause anxiety, social dysfunction, and make you completely disconnected from reality itself. That was me, anxious, insecure, and unable to approach real women. It was actually ridiculous. I had no confidence because I was constantly chasing instant gratification instead of focusing on building myself up. Women became this unreachable ideal for me. They were objects of fantasy that I felt too scared or unworthy to talk to. I would see guys who seemed naturally confident with women, and I would wonder why can't I be like that? But I wasn't doing anything to change my situation. It was crazy, and I was stuck in a vicious cycle of self sabotage. I got to the point where I started seriously contemplating suicide. I felt so lost, so ashamed of myself that I didn't see any way out. I remember the day I told my mom and sister about my suicidal thoughts. They were shocked, and honestly, I was too. Admitting it out loud was like a wake up call. I knew I needed to make a change, but at that moment, I had no idea where to start. At first, I tried to find my purpose through fashion. I was always into looking good, like so I started taking fit pics and I was posting them on social media, calling myself an influencer. But it was all surface level, deep down I knew I was still that same lost guy with no direction or discipline. Now, I wanted to be an entrepreneur, to build something meaningful, but I had no idea how. I just had no idea how. Like, it wasn't until I stumbled upon or onto the world of self improvement that things started to change. One day while I was scrolling through social media, I came across content about the importance of health, discipline, and personal development. It resonated with me on a deeper level because I knew I had been neglecting those areas of my life. I had spent so much time avoiding responsibility, blaming others for my problems, and seeking instant gratification that I had forgotten the importance of taking care of myself. That's when I decided to start reading. I think the first book I picked up was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. That book changed my perspective on relationships, communication, and how to interact with the world. I started watching podcasts and consuming content that gave me virtual mentorship. People like Andy Frizella and David Goggins. Shout out to y'all, man. They were speaking about discipline, mental toughness, and taking control of your life. And I knew that's what I needed. Then came 75 Hard, a mental toughness program that involves 2 workouts a day that I'm still doing now. Drinking a gallon of water. Hello. and following a strict diet. Not diet, but I'm reading 10 pages of a book like every day for like 75 days straight. You know, it sounded impossible at first, but I was tired of being the guy who gave up easily. I needed to challenge myself in a way I had not before. And believe me, it was hard, very difficult. But that program built my discipline and gave me the structure I desperately needed. And I'm glad I went through that process. The more disciplined I became, the more I realized how crucial my health was to every other area of my life. You know, I started with calisthenics, bodyweight exercise. I could do it anywhere. It was simple, but it was very effective. You know, I didn't need a gym membership or expensive equipment, just my own body and the will to push myself. This summer that just passed, I trained outdoors and it felt liberating. I was no longer the guy who needed to escape into video games or fapping. You know, I was starting to control my body and my extensions, my mind. But I didn't stop there. You know, after focusing on calisthenics for months, I wanted to take things to the next level. Now I'm at the gym. I'm currently in the gym regularly, lifting weights and combining it with HIIT workouts. You know, I found a balance between building functional strength through calisthenics and pushing my limits in the weight room. This combination completely transformed not just my body, but my mindset. You know, when I look back, you know, at how far I have come, I realized that the gym and fitness weren't just about getting stronger physically. They were about building confidence and reclaiming control over my life. The more I trained, the more my anxiety around women started to fade. You know, I realized that confidence comes from within, you know, from doing the hard work and sticking to your commitments. Yeah, I went from being too scared to even talk to women, you know, to having confidence to approach them and be myself. You know, my transformation wasn't just about aesthetics; it was about building respect for myself. I had to break free from the habits that were keeping me weak mentally and physically. So what do I want you to take away from this? You know, the biggest lesson I have learned through all of this is that discipline is the foundation for everything, whether it's overcoming my addiction to fapping, transforming my body, or building social confidence. It all comes down to showing up, even when you don't feel like it. You know, I'm sharing this because if I can go from being a lost, insecure guy with no direction, to someone who thrives in fitness and personal growth, then so can you. You know, whether you are lifting weights or doing calisthenics, it's not just about building a better body, it's about building a better life. The gym is more than just a place to get fit. It's a place where you can forge discipline, you know, confidence, and the mental toughness. This is very crucial, man. I'm here to help others because I know what it feels like to be at like rock bottom. I know how it feels to have no confidence, no direction, and to struggle with self-sabotage. Why's my chest hurting me? Anyways, but I also know that that with the right mindset and the right habits, you can turn your life around. You know, you can build a body that reflects strength, discipline, and confidence, and that's something that will carry over into every area of your life. So if you're ready to stop chasing instant gratification and start building a life you're proud of, then it's time to take action. Whether you are in the gym or out in the nature, you know, doing calisthenics, the important thing is to commit to the process and never stop pushing yourself. You know, the journey won't be easy, but I promise you, it will be worth it. This was a very vulnerable one, and I hope you will take action and get inspired and even resonate with my story too as well. I'll see you all in the next one, eh? If you want to join my waitlist, it's in the link below. And yeah, let's crush it, man. All right, in a bit.